Introducing the Open Palm Podcast with host Jerome Shaw, available today on your favorite podcast platforms. The Open Palm Podcast is a positive, uplifting, motivational, and inspirational podcast. The host brings his insight and philosophy, and you can't help but gravitate towards his smile, his words, and his wisdom. Again, the podcast he hosts is titled The Open Palm Podcast. It's about inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas and topics. He'll also help you become more aware and in harmony with your own life, giving you a better understanding of your place in the world and using your skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You can find the show today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also connect with the host on Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's JROMESHAW on Instagram. Jerome Shaw with the Open Palm Podcast. Motivation, meditation, mentality. Go listen, download, and subscribe today.
There once lived a great warrior. Though quite old, he still was able to defeat any challenger. His reputation extended far and wide throughout the land, and many students gathered to study under him. One day, an infamous young warrior arrived at the village. He was determined to be the first man to defeat the great master. Along with his strength, he had an uncanny ability to spot and exploit any weakness in an opponent. He would wait for his opponent to make the first move, thus revealing a weakness, and then would strike with merciless force and lightning speed. No one had ever lasted with him in a match beyond the first move. Much against the advice of his concerned students, the old master gladly accepted the young warrior's challenge. As the two squared off for battle, the young warrior began to hurl insults at the old master. He threw dirt and spit in his face. For hours, he verbally assaulted him with every curse and insult known to mankind. But the old warrior merely stood there motionless and calm. Finally, the young warrior exhausted himself. Knowing he was defeated, he left, feeling shamed. Somewhat disappointed that he did not fight the insolent youth, the students gathered around the old master and questioned him.
"How could you endure such an indignity? How did you drive him away?"
"If someone gives you a gift and you did not receive it," the master replied, "to whom does the gift belong?" Think about this for a second. When people come to you bearing gifts, it could be gifts that are positive, or maybe gifts that are negative. Who is to say? But if someone comes with a gift that you do not receive, to whom does that gift belong? There may have times in your life, as there have been in mine, where you've been cut off on the road or insulted, called out of your name, flipped off, shown the middle finger or some insult. But did you receive this gift in kind? It is not what happens to us, after all, but how we respond that makes the difference. How did you respond to the gifts that other people gave you? Maybe being bullied, as I was coming up in school. I had a problem receiving these gifts from others. There were times where I would come from different schools that had different dress codes, and not knowing anything about the times or the fads or the different fashions of public school, I was very much picked on and bullied as a teenager, as a kid, and thinking back on it makes me chuckle to myself. But then I came across some new family, some new friends that gave me a thicker skin, picking on each other was a term or a form of endearment, a form of friendship. And thus, I developed a sense of thick skin. I actually did not retaliate, or did not need to retaliate or fight against people who seemed to have it out for me, or seemed to want to find a weakness to exploit, just like the young master in this story. Sometimes, knowledge may be knowing what to do, but wisdom is knowing what not to do. The old sage or the old master understood that he didn't need to accept this gift from the young master. He didn't need to retaliate or resort to any form of violence. And there are many who would say that to win without violence is the greatest victory there is. Victory in not fighting at all. Victory without throwing a single blow. Thank you for listening, my friend. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm Podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. I pray that you received an encouraging message from this episode, letting you know that you needn't fear the insults or blows coming at you from other people. That is more a reflection of who they are than who you are. But who you are will speak volumes in the way that you respond to the things that come your way. You can have victory without throwing a single blow, without hurling a single insult, without resorting to violence. You can win. Share this episode with a like-minded individual who is learning and growing just like you, becoming their greatest version, understanding how to have victory without violence. Pay it forward so more can hear the message. And if this is your very first time receiving this podcast, definitely give it a subscribe for more inspirational messages like this. And if you feel compelled to support, consider opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw. Clicking that support link there is much appreciated, my friend. Thank you. Big shout out to all the wonderful supporters who continue to donate to this podcast. You are the lifeblood. You are much appreciated and loved. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much gratitude. And have a wonderful and blessed day or night wherever you are. As always, take care, my friend. Hey there, my friend. So you've heard about Anchor. But do you know why it's the easiest way to make a podcast? Well, first off, it's free. It allows you to use creation tools that let you record your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear yours. Let's see what you have to offer the world.